And our first order of business is, what did, you want to take a couple things out of order? I'm looking at the agenda.
Well, if we could do the request for determination now, and then do our last hearing, which is actually, second to last hearing, which was 16 Second Street, if we could do that after.
Okay. All right. Request for determination of applicability RDA for, and you clicked it, I can't see it now. Okay. Pursuant to provisions, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Winchton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Winchton Conservation Commission will hold public hearing on Thursday, December 15th. Today's the 15th, right?
Yes.
It's the 8th in here. 2022 at 6:05 PM to consider a request for determination of applicability by Brian Croto, DPW Director for the Town of Winchton. The applicant is proposing a project associated with replacement of a water distribution main along Sherbert Road Extension, North Ashburnham Road. The hearing will be held second floor auditorium, Town Hall, 109 Front Street, Winchton, Mass. Alternative translations and accommodations for disabled persons is available by advance request. Mr. Croto, please let us know what you're going to do here.
Good evening. So this project consists of replacing about 5 miles of transmission water line from the plant in Ashburnham. It's going to deviate from the current location. The current pipe goes cross-country from 315 North Ashburnham, or 315 Sherbert Road in Ashburnham, and it cuts across to North Ash. The pipe's going to continue down Sherbert Road, and then it's going to go under the high-tension power lines and connect directly into the dirt section of North Ashburnham to take the cross-country section out. That's an issue.
Okay. Okay, any questions from the board? No question.
I think it's great.
No? Any comments from the audience? Matt?
All of the work is actually in the road, in the actual roadway right-of-way itself, which would qualify under the DEP regulations for an exemption. The RDA was required because of our bylaw. It fits within the bylaw for work, utility work within a right-of-way, so I would recommend a negative determination.
Board will entertain a motion for positive determination.
Negative.
Negative,
I'd like
excuse
to
me.
make a motion for a negative determination.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Thank you.
You're all set.
Thank you.
And
Our next one is it'll be 16 Second Street. It does have a DEP number with no comment. I'm just gonna pull it up now.
Lot E, Hitchcock Road. Second Street.
Okay, John, okay. And this is for continuation for, so pursuant to provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Winchton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Winchton Conservation Commission will hold public hearing on Thursday,
December 15th.
December 15th, 2022, at 6 o'clock, to consider the notice of intent filed by Robert Matusky, owner of 16 Second Street, assesses map 7, parcel 4. The proposed work includes raising and rebuilding the existing 3-bedroom home, installing a new drilled well and water and electric lines. Proposed work is within the 100-foot buffer zone. The hearing will be held at the second floor auditorium at Town Hall, 109 Front Street, Winchton. Alternative translations and accommodations for disabled persons is available upon request. John?
You have the plan?
Yep, I'm pulling it up.
So essentially, the owner is looking to demolish the existing dwelling that's there and construct a new dwelling in its place. Both are going to be, 3 bedrooms, that is a larger footprint than what is there. A new well will be installed. There's currently a shallow well, that's within 100 feet of the existing septic system, so, the plan is to, install a new drilled well. The new house, we squeezed it up as close as we could to the septic system, but maintaining the setback to the leach field. You can see the 2 different footprints. The upper part of the screen is the existing dwelling, and then the lower one's kind of cut off a little bit, but it does get a bit closer to the lake due to the size of the house.
All right, comments from the board? Lionel?
I thought the footprint had to be the exact same to build the house, the second house.
I'm sorry, it has to be what?
The footprint has
Yep.
to be the same as the cellar hole from the existing house now, not bigger.
I
And
think
according to
there's
this,
a
it's
percentage they can go over by the,
Yeah, it meets the zoning setbacks, because it has it's the Lake Menominee overlay district, so as far as, we're not increasing the number of bedrooms, but as far as the setbacks, you know, which are on the plan, we meet all of that, so.
Does it make it any closer to the lake?
no.
It is, because the house footprint is bigger, it is closer to the lake, yes.
Well, one thing, too, with the overlay, I think you cannot increase the house by 50% in size,
Yeah.
from pre to post. That's something you need to talk to the building commissioner about.
Yep.
Because I'm looking at this, and it looks to me you're at that or over the 50% threshold. And you know, we probably want to take a look at maybe tweaking the house location if we could to push it farther out of the 50 and 75 foot if possible. I know he's got septic considerations.
Yeah, the
But
front of the
I-
house is, you know, the setback to the leach field, so to push it up any further. That other jog there is the garage, which the existing house does not have.
You know, the other stuff I see on here, like the erosion protection and the well and all the other items that he's got here, and his grading plan is, you know, what he's putting in for his existing grades and all of that. And it's very well detailed, and it's a very good plan. But my recommendation would be that we continue it, and he should go to the building commissioner to have Mr. Newton look at it.
Okay.
If it does meet the zoning for that area, come back, and then we can discuss further. If it doesn't meet, you're gonna have to go to the ZBA.
Yeah.
And that's the unknown factor here, because technically, if you have to go to the ZBA for this, technically, under the actual Wetland Protection Act, we're not supposed to approve something like that until the ZBA, you know, a local board grants a variance. That's not even a bylaw, that's a state consideration. And from the state Wetland Protection Act standpoint, I don't see a problem with the plan other than the ZBA.
You want to ask for a continuance?
Yeah, I mean, we can. I was trying to think, there's been a couple other houses up there in the same area that have taken up quite a bit of the lot, so, that have been torn down and rebuilt, so I can't remember them having a special permit.
Do you know the exact square footage of the house that's coming down and what you're
I
putting up?
don't off the top of my head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Lionel is correct, and I know they can go over by a percentage, and I'm not sure that's more of a planning and zoning than it is for us, but it's always an issue when we do this.
There was actually one house, for example, we actually just completed an enforcement action on it, I believe it was on Island Road, where the building inspector is still working out a building configuration with them because they can't go over the 50%. We have another NOI coming up tonight, I believe also along the same road, that the building inspector said, no, it's gotta go within the same footprint. That one, though, there's some, I think, some floodplain considerations that might have played into account. If Jeff says this thing is okay,
Yeah.
then you probably should, you know, just come back at the next meeting. If not, you're gonna have to talk to him as to why. Because I know this has been an issue with multiple building permits lately.
Yeah, well, you look at what's going on up the lake, I mean, there's people, you know, the Van Dyke property's one of them, I mean, you know, look at, they're right on the lake and stuff, cleared everything.
Well, okay, so if we're gonna compare apples and oranges, which I don't wanna spend all night doing,
Yeah.
the Van Dyke property actually is under enforcement currently.
Yeah, no, I
Had an
understand.
as-built done on the house, and the as-built actually shows that the house, while structurally looking different, is actually not only in the same footprint, it's actually a little bit smaller than what was the existing footprint out there. That was based on an as-built survey done by, and I believe the surveyor is here tonight if you wanna talk to him about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not really the same thing, the apples and oranges on that one.
Yeah, that's fine, continue it.
Okay, motion to continue, I'll
Like
entertain
to
a
make a
motion to continue
motion to
at the request
continue?
of the applicant.
She made a motion.
To the next
I'll
regular
second.
meeting?
Next meeting?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, votes aye.
When's the next meeting?
January what?
All right.
17?
It's been about 15 minutes and nobody exercised the Zoom option, so I'm turning my Zoom account off.
Okay,
If anybody tries to sign into the room, I will get an alert and I'll turn it back on.
Don't have my phone. January meeting it is.
Excuse me, when's the next meeting date?
Hold on, I'll get it right for you in just 2 seconds. January 12th.
Okay, thank you.
If the commission wants, I will have a meeting date schedule for next year, every meeting date, along with the deadlines for filing for that meeting. I'll send you guys a copy of that in Word, and I'll have Nicole, who's our posting on the website guru, post that for me so that it's available to the general public. So I'll have that done for the meeting that we meet on the 12th. You'll have it done, you'll have it up for New Year's.
Thank you.
is there anything else we can take care of, or it doesn't look it? I'm looking.
Just a couple of things. One, Randy Ramos Place, Central Mass Tree, over on the corner by the stoplights. He did put in a request for a certificate of compliance. I have as-built in the office. I've walked it with the site engineer, that would be Brian Marchetti from McCarty Engineering.
Yeah,
The only thing he did different was instead of putting grass around the side slopes, he did wood shavings.
mulch, yeah, I saw that.
I'd rather have the mulch out there.
Yeah, he's got plenty of it, too.
And it looks beautiful, and yeah, pretty much got a healthy inventory of it, so he can just keep refreshing it. So I'd request that we issue the certificate on that one. He actually, I gotta hand it to him, he did a really nice job.
Yeah, yeah. All right,
So if I could have that as a motion and a vote, that'd be great.
okay, if we can get a motion to, for a certificate of compliance for, what's the name of his company, North
Central Mass Tree.
Central Mass Tree.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Get that agenda back up. Second Street, 106 Second Street would be next.
All right,
All right. Kyle, yeah, you can have your sign. We've already started. How you doing? This thing.
I don't count.
$6:15.
I'll tell you, I can't wait till tomorrow morning. I can take this off.
1 minute.
This is.
So, I do have a question on meetings that we start next year moving forward. The agenda, we often tend to divide our hearings into 5-minute blocks.
Yeah,
You can just put a general public hearings, 6 PM, and just list them in order without putting times. If you guys like, I can have it done that way.
That would speed things up. What do you think, Carl?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, then I'll have it done. I discussed it with Nicole, and she didn't seem to think it was
That
an
way,
issue
we're not
either.
sitting here just waiting for a minute to click
That's
off.
what I was thinking,
Right.
because if you have it in general block form, that hearings start at 6 and
Yeah.
we go down the agenda, you wouldn't have to wait that way.
Okay. All right, so this one's supposed to be 6:15? Okay, so pursuant to provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Winchendon, and the Winchendon Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Winchendon Conservation Commission will hold public hearing on Thursday, December 15th, 2022, at 6:15 PM to consider notice of intent filed by Christine Tennyson, owner of 106 Second Street, assessors map M3, parcel 27. The proposed work includes construction of a single-family home within the footprint of the existing home within the 100-foot buffer zone. The hearing will be held on the second floor auditorium at the Town Hall, 109 Front Street, Winchendon. Alternative translations and accommodations for disabled persons is available upon request.
Thank you, David. I apologize for being late. Matt, you want to start us off on this one, please?
This is a notice of intent for a single-family house. It has a DEP number with no comment from DEP. Essentially, they are looking to tear down and rebuild an existing two-bedroom dwelling. It'll be proposed within the same footprint. I believe you're just adding a second floor?
Correct. Regarding the square footage with the building inspector.
And you are,
I'm the contractor.
you're the contractor. What's your name, sir?
Sean Dame, D-A-M-E.
D-A-M-E? Okay. That's it, go ahead.
Yeah, so like Matt said, it's essentially just a tear down and a rebuild in the same footprint. It's 52 feet from the lake, so we're filed an NOI. And we have silt fence going across virtually the whole property line, 8 feet from the house for erosion control. And the only thing, we're adding to the house is a second story, but there's the same impervious cover. We're not proposing any new driveway coming up to the house or anything like that.
I've gone by the property, and what's here on the plans is, accurately represents both existing and proposed conditions. I don't particularly have an issue with it because it's within the same footprint. They're not expanding the nonconformity under our bylaw, and he's keeping everything within the same spot. The second floor really doesn't have any bearing on us, as long as it doesn't go out.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Melissa?
No, looks good.
Lionel?
Nope, looks good to me.
Looks okay to me?
Looks fine to me, too. So it looks like all we'll have to do is condition the work and how the work's done with a standard order of conditions.
Motion for a negative determination
Give me the standard order conditions.
with the standard order of conditions.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
We actually skipped over Matson Homes, Lot B Hitchcock, so we could go ahead with that now.
I'll be in touch. Maybe I'll check
Had a-
tomorrow or give you a call. Thank you.
Okay. And 6:10, hopefully, all right. Okay.
We are ready.
Okay. Pursuant to provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Winchendon Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Winchendon Conservation Commission will hold public hearing on Thursday, December 15th, 2022, at 6:10 PM to consider the notice of intent filed by Ken Matson, doing business as Matson's Home. Property is located at Lot B, Hitchcock Road, assesses map 8, parcel 16A. The proposed work includes construction of a 3-bedroom, single-family home with private well and septic. All Infrastructure and grading will be located outside of the 75-foot buffer zone. The hearing will be held in the second floor auditorium, Town Hall, 109 Front Street, Winchendon. Alternative translations and accommodations for disabled persons is available upon advance request.
Thank you, David. Sir, could you state your name into the microphone, please?
Yep, Chris Stoddard, Stoddard Engineering. So what we have here is, we did some soil testing out here. We've been able to prove out a location for the septic systems, which are outside the 100-foot buffer zone. We did have Chuck Karen from Karen Environmental. He went out and flagged all of the wetlands around the site. I believe Matt did go out there to confirm that he agreed with that flagging.
Yes.
Standard silt fence, straw wattles around the whole site. As we said, all grading and tree clearing will be outside the 75-foot zone, and all infrastructure except for a little corner of the house and the well is outside the 100-foot. So I think it's fairly straightforward. I can answer any questions that you guys have.
Matt, go ahead.
So we have a DEP number with no comment.
Okay.
So on the state side, we're good. On the bylaw side, he's keeping everything out of the 75-foot no-build. He's got erosion protection well-placed. Considering the way the zones come out on both sides because of the wetland, he was fortunate the way the wetland shaped. He had a nice tight spot where he fit everything. I think this is exactly why the bylaw was written for these lots. When you can fit it outside the 75-foot, you do it. I mean, I think this is a wonderful plan. My recommendation would be for standard order of conditions.
Thank you, Matt. Questions or comments from the board? Melissa?
That's a tight space, and got that all fit in there. My only concern's a reserve tank, but you still kept it within 75 foot, so.
Yeah, we can actually, we could retest that if we needed to pull that out. There is room to the east. Realistically, I very rarely have ever used the reserve area, so most likely, by putting it back there, we'd have to put a new pump and everything in the tank, which we're not, this is a gravity system as it is, so if that system ever failed, we'd most likely put it right back in the exact same spot. But because we're within the 100-foot, we'd be coming back for you folks anyways, so.
Did a nice job.
And if he had to do a reserve area, you'd have to come back to us anyway, so we could renegotiate that then.
Yep.
Thank you, Melissa. Lionel?
No problem. I like it.
Thank you, Lionel. David?
I've been out, looked at it, I'm satisfied with it also.
Yeah, it looks good.
Thank you.
Got everything outside the 75. We are in the 100, but you'd be hard pressed to get anything outside the 100 on this plot, so,
I make a motion to approve it
with standard order of conditions.
with a standing order of conditions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've got 270, an RDA for 270 Mill Glen Pond North, which was put on for 620 and 624, so.
Okay.
Pull it up.
Notice is hereby given, oh, this has got the zoning board of appeals.
Oh, let me see if I can get another one. Ah, here we go.
There we go. Pursuant to the provision, geez, I can't talk. Pursuant to the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Winchendon Wetland Protection Bylaw, the Winchendon Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, December 15th, 2022 at 6:20 PM to consider requests for determination of applicability filed by Perry Whitney for proposed work within the 50-foot buffer zone of bordering vegetation at 270 Mill Glen Pond North, Association map 11, parcel 43. The proposed work includes demolition of an existing home and shed on the property to be replaced by a new trailer on the property. The hearing will be held at second floor auditorium, Winchendon Town Hall, 109 Front Street, Winchendon. Alternative translations and accommodations for proposed for disabled persons is available by advance request.
Thank you, David. Good evening, sir. Can you state your name into the microphone, please?
Hi, my name is Pierre Whitney, and I'm here to see if I can get permission to demo my current trailer and replace it with a new. I have a better map if you'd like to see it.
That'd be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's just the aerial overview. He's basically the ground trailer. His existing lot is basically here. And yeah, there's some photos.
Yeah.
We'll put in with the, There's some photos I'm gonna put up too on this big screen, but he's brought another plan, if you guys, if you wanna show it to them. This one's the sketch he provided me with. That's why it's
This is
easy
where I
to.
am, 270, 280. This is my current house, and I'd like to put it across here.
It's gonna
It's gonna be, yes, I'm gonna put on a gravel pad, it'll be permanent.
So the green hash marks that are on this is what's gonna be floodplain lines.
Further away from the
So the
water.
work he's proposing isn't in the floodplain. Just wanted to show
Concern
you.
from looking at this picture earlier, because I missed a couple meetings. Did he come over before to get that tree down? Because you can see the sawdust around the tree
Yes, you can.
when you blow it up.
Yes, you can.
Is this his trailer now? The brown one?
That's his trailer now.
Okay, thank you.
So does this make sense?
See this, Kyle, with Lionel?
The new trailer's gonna go this way, so this is no longer accurate. Right.
Lionel.
This is.
See the sawdust?
So I noticed something when I was examining the photo, and I had a commissioner that just said it now. You cut a tree down recently?
This is his lot.
Okay. You're not supposed to take any vegetation out without letting us know first.
I didn't know, that was done months ago, before I even started this.
Okay, because the photo it looks like the photo that you have was taken in the summer.
How long ago did you say that tree was taken down?
In, I think it was May.
Okay, Matt, whenever you're ready.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, here's the tree where my cursor is circling right
That
here.
was also a hazard. The fire department had come down, I had a big come along on it. That
You
thing,
can see where it's rotted in the middle.
it was aiming right for my gas tanks.
Is right now you're living out of this?
What's that?
Are you living out of this trailer?
I'm living in the one on the left, the brown one.
The brown one, okay.
That's the one I want to demo.
The brown one is the one you want to take down? Is that on the ground?
It's got a foundation.
If you zoom in on the picture, you can see the foundation.
Okay, it's built onto.
Yeah, okay.
It was put in, engraved in the cement, was 1982. I don't know, I was 2 years before I bought it, so I'm not sure if they went through the town or not.
So I believe I went over this with you. What is the current dimensions of this structure that you're taking?
This one here is 40 feet long and 18 feet wide.
So we got 720 square feet. What are the dimensions of the structure that you want to put up?
39 by 8,
By 8?
yep. So a little less than
So
half.
it's actually a reduction by about half the square footage of what's existing there now. So we'd be gaining back some green space on this one. The only other thing I would recommend is that he replant the tree that he took out, like
That's
we,
where the house is gonna be. That's where I wanna put the house.
no, you don't have to
There's
put
room
it
on the property to do it
Oh,
elsewhere.
somewhere else? Yeah.
property.
I can put another tree in somewhere
And
else.
in the future, even though that tree is rotted and it poses a danger, you still have to come before us. We've given the agent the authority to make those decisions without waiting for a meeting. So if there's a tree that's rotted, it's obviously needs to come down, we'll allow that.
Okay,
But it's got to be,
yeah.
you have to receive permission being so close to the water. Anything you do on that
Yeah,
property
I know now.
is gonna need to be conditioned.
What I have is a form that I fill out, and when I fill it out and say, okay, take the tree down, I would take it and put it in electronic format and send it to the commission so that they have a record of it,
Okay.
you know, ahead of a meeting, so.
I've got a question. What's
Lionel?
gonna happen to the foundation under that house?
They're gonna knock it in, and it's gonna be all filled in so that, it'll be the same height all the way across. They'll knock the foundation in and fill it in.
So you're gonna loam and seed it?
You won't be able to see it.
You won't be
No,
able
are
to see
you
it?
gonna, are you gonna loam and seed it? Are you gonna put loom and seed it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Make it lawn?
Yeah, I'd like to have a grass yard there.
All right, thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board? Melissa?
No, as long as he's no closer than what that is, stays in the same footprint, he's actually improving it.
What are you, 50 feet from the water with the new one?
The new place, I can make sure it's at least 50 from the water.
So you're outside the 50-foot setback? Okay. That'll have to go in the order of conditions, Matt.
It is, yeah, it was in the zoning board to be 50 feet away.
Right, the ZBA gave him a variance.
Okay.
They gave him a finding that he had to stay greater than 50 feet from the lake. So it's written into his zoning decision, I'll write it into your decision, and that way it'll be consistent on both fronts.
He seems clear on it, we just need it binding.
Yeah.
Okay. Lionel?
Find no problem as long as he keeps up to the conditions, letter of conditions.
Okay, so this trailer is very close to the water, so it's gonna be,
Yeah,
we're gonna be very careful about getting anything into the water, so we're gonna need to make sure the silt fence and hay bales are done properly, and maybe
Yeah.
2 rows even, being that close to the water. And, the type of equipment you're gonna use, I'm sure Matt would like to know. Right, Matt?
Yep,
Whether you're using heavy equipment, or it's gonna be done, smaller equipment.
that'll be listed in his building permit app, because he's gonna have to account to that with the, building inspector, and the building commission will make me sign off on it.
Okay,
So we cross-sign on each other's permits, so.
okay, good. All right, David?
No, I'm okay with it, yeah.
I'm okay with it, so, looking for a motion for a negative determination?
I'd like to make a notion
That's a
for
good thing, by
negative
the way.
determination, order of conditions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye.
So what you've been given is you've been given the approval with the conditions that you were gonna have to put in 2 rows of erosion protection, like 2 rows of bales or wattles.
Yep.
Close to the water's edge. I can go over that with you when you get ready to start. You would have to list on your building permit that I would have to review the equipment to be used. And the foundation that you have here, the existing one, is gonna have to be graded to even grade, like you said it would be, and then made lawn. And that you would replant the missing tree. And that's it.
Okay,
And good luck.
thank you. Is there a time limit on the permit? Does it have to?
Permit is good for 3 years.
Oh, okay. As long as it's a few months, because now it's winter. All set.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know, I'm finding some things, this is on the second page.
Do we have one of those on file, David, or do we have an electronic, I'm sorry, Matt, or do we have an electronic copy?
I don't have that. If you want to give it to me, to hold it, I'll mail it back to you. Is that your mailing address?
Yeah,
I can have the scan Monday.
okay.
We have a scanner, I can
Alright.
scan it
That's
electronically.
really good. Okay, that's the one, okay.
So what I'll do is, we have, well, that'd be awesome. Tiffany's gonna go scan it now.
Thanks, Tiffany.
I'm telling you, between her and Nicole, they make it so easy. So the next one we have is 296 Beachview Drive, for the addition of stairs leading to the water within the 50-foot buffer zone. This is a notice of intent. It has been given a DEP file number with no comment.
Okay, good.
And my compliments to the applicant for actually mastering eDEP. She filed everything electronically with DEP and then gave us a hard copy, which is very tedious. So kudos to navigating through that system.
296 Peachfield, right?
Yeah.
Just waiting for the reading. We have to open the meeting with the reading. I'm sorry, the hearing.
Come on, where are you?
There we go. Pursuant to provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Winchton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Winchton Conservation Commission will hold public hearing on Thursday, December 15th, 2022, at 6:25 PM to consider the notice of intent filed by Susan
Abdulis?
okay, owner of 296 Beachview Drive, map 12, parcel 67. The proposed work includes addition of stairs to the water within the 50-foot buffer zone. The hearing will be held on the second floor auditorium at the Town Hall, 109 Front Street, Winchton. Alternative translations and accommodation for disabled persons is available by advance request.
Thank you, David. You state your names into the microphone, please.
Susan Abdulis?
Peter Abdulis.
Thank you. Would you like to present your project to us, please?
Certainly. I don't know if he has any pictures, but currently, we have pavers going down from the road down to our walkway. We'd like to replace those with stairs, just with grandchildren and ourselves, just for safety issues. So we've spoken with Victor from King Construction, who will put in the stairs with 2 landings in there, using the same stone we have for the retaining walls that we installed 2 years ago, with the landings using the brick that's also used in the walkway that we have existing there right now. So I know in
Landing
the,
at the 4-foot, where the 4-foot marking is there, landing there, and then a landing up higher?
right, so the stairs are gonna lead up from the road down to that walkway. So there'll be like 2 steps, then a landing, 2 steps, then a landing, and then
To make it more gradual because it's
It's-
steep.
it's
and
pretty steep in
it's
that
tough to
area.
get down to that walkway. Our deck is on the end of that walkway. So the stairs that we're proposing don't go to the water, they go to that walkway.
Yeah,
Now, the stair's gonna be concrete?
They're gonna be, the concrete retaining wall
blocks.
blocks, and then in the middle, those brick pavers, just like that.
Existing.
I know what they want to do.
So what currently you have, it just looks, is this a current picture? Are there, what
Yeah.
do you use
So-
to go down there now? Just those
Those
pavers?
pavers on the left are currently what's there.
All right.
And it is, I mean, you can't really tell with the picture there, but it's pretty, there's an incline there, it's tough to
Yes.
get down, and when they get wet, it's tough.
Have you done any measurements on the square footage of the walkway?
Of the walkway that exists, or
The
the
one you propose to put in?
proposed to put in, is it gonna be 5 feet?
It's 5 feet wide. I thought I don't have that one. Oh, here it is, yep. Sorry, 5 feet wide, and then it's 16 feet from the road down to the walkway.
So it's about 80 square feet.
How much?
80 square feet.
Matt, do you have anything to say about this?
Well, the commission, if the commission approves this under the NOI, I mean, it's a very small project statewide. On our bylaw, you can see the existing conditions are essentially gravel. So it's not really gonna, like, we're not taking undeveloped area and then converting it to impervious. It's semi-pervious as it is now. Steps actually would create more of a safety factor than anything else. So you're not gonna be changing the drainage pattern, you're not gonna be affecting any wildlife, you're not gonna be taking pervious and making it impervious. So the commission could consider approving this under their waiver provisions based on logistics of the lot and the fact that it is an access way.
Questions or comments from the board? Melissa?
No, I think for safety reasons, it would definitely be an improvement.
Lionel?
I'd have to agree.
Yeah, I think just as a safety purpose too, I think it's okay with me.
Yeah, 'cause those pavers are angled looking at them, if I'm seeing them right. Looks like they're at an angle as you walk. If they were wet, they'd probably be slippery, so.
Right.
So if they do approve the order, it will be written into your permit that this is granted on a waiver from our bylaw because of the safety issue,
Okay.
and that approval of this does not guarantee approval of future waivers for structures. Okay? We just need to make that clear.
Okay, anything else, Matt?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to approve with a standard order of conditions.
I make a motion to approve with a standard order of conditions.
All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, standard order of conditions is basically, you know, silt fence while you're doing the construction, hay bales.
Yeah,
It can all come up as soon as you're
got
done.
Okay.
Just because you're so
got
close to
some
the water.
holes out there already by the looks, so.
Yeah, it looks
Well,
like
maybe
there's
that's an
already
older
water
picture,
from a
yeah,
previous
yeah.
project.
Exactly. Yep, you were here a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good night.
We have 226 Lakeview.
226. Man, there's a lot of friggin' houses going on.
It's all set whenever you want to do the reading.
All set? Okay, I'm sorry. Pursuant to provisions, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Town of Winchton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Winchton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing. Public hearing on Thursday, December 22nd, December 15th, 2022, 6:30 PM to consider the notice of intent filed by John Hill, owner of 226 Lakeview Drive, identified on the assessors map M12, parcel 38. Proposed work includes the removal and reconstruction of a single-family house further from the lake and the removal and construction of landscaping structures on the shore of Lake Menominee at 226 Lakeview Drive. Existing house is 19.7 feet from Lake Menominee. Proposal will be 24.5 feet. The reconstruction of the landscaping features will improve the flood elevation on the lot within 50 feet, within the 50-foot buffer zone. The hearing will be held on the second floor auditorium at the Town Hall, 109 Front Street. Winchton, alternative translations and accommodations for disabled persons is available by advance request.
Thank you, David.
This actually did recently get a DEP file number after the agenda was published. So there is a number with no comments.
Okay, please state your name into the microphone.
Yeah, Joshua Jocelyn, I'm with Graz Engineering, representing John Hill on this project.
Okay, go ahead.
So, yeah, essentially, we're just proposing to tear down the existing house. We're gonna be moving it back a little bit and raising it up about 8 feet along with the driveway, building a retaining wall along the driveway to get up to grade. And then down on the water side, there's one smaller retaining wall that you can see there in the existing conditions, and then a larger retaining wall near the dock. He's planning to redo the large retaining wall near the dock and get rid of that small retaining wall that's directly in front of the house, in front of the lake. And the reason for doing so is that it's kind of a crummy looking, just rock wall that's, you can see erosion coming through and everything. So he's looking to just eliminate that. It's only about 1 foot high, and just grade that with sand, which is what it is now. The statement that you read said we were changing the flood line. I actually revised this today so that the flood line is staying exactly the same. So I tweaked the grading a little bit. And the deck that's existing now, he would like to have that as a covered deck rather than just an open deck now with an additional open deck on the side. But the impervious square footage is proposed to increase by about 70 square feet. So there's nothing crazy there. And we're looking to move it back away from the water.
So on the drawing with the proposed two-bedroom house, the green is the existing?
The green crosses are the existing. That crosshatch, that's existing, and then the dots are proposed.
Okay. Matt?
Well, DEP had no comment, which means they examined the floodplain issue and were satisfied with it. You know, DEP doesn't have an issue about floodplain, then I'm good. As far as the structure goes, it looks like the pre- and post-development structures are fairly similar. I don't see, like he was saying, I don't see any change in expansion of nonconformity, and it is moving it farther past the water. What I really like is the fact that he's removing the two retaining walls and just creating one in its place. The only thing I would recommend on this, I have no problem with an order of conditions if the commission chooses to issue one. I don't think the silt fence is enough. He's just got silt fence proposed on this plan. I would add 8-inch organic wattles to go in front of that silt fence. The reason why I say the 8-inch organic, it's close to the water, and the 8-inch organic that you can get around here has a tendency to take a good beating from weather and a good beating from water, so it'll hold up better.
So you don't think the silt fence and hay bales is enough?
I think the silt fence and the wattles will be enough. There's only silt fence proposed on this plan. The detail only calls for silt fence.
It's generally, I haven't seen that done maybe once in 17 years, just silt fence. Generally, they go hand in hand, but yeah, you can put that in the order of conditions.
I've got a question. On
Good, Lionel.
the old, on the plan of the original house, you have a deck within the 50-foot. On the plan of the new house, you got a back section of the house within the 50-foot.
No, that back section is a covered deck, so there's no foundation there.
Now it shows on the print though.
That's not what it says here.
Yeah, if you read the plan, called out in the house, it says a 24 by 40 foot foundation.
You got a ruler?
No, I don't.
No, the
No, that's a
existing
deck
one
that
is
was
a
there
deck.
before.
He said this is a deck too, just putting the roof in.
Here's the deck right to the side, and the new one.
So what are you saying?
Deck is right here,
40 feet long
on the other one.
this way.
This is a covered deck.
No, other way
If
around,
you look
sorry.
at the
This is
marks
40
on
feet.
there, that's a
This is
foundation
24.
marker.
This back
That's a
is an
foundation
enclosed
marker, and
deck.
that deck is off to
that's
the
not
side.
Foundation.
I don't have a
Okay, so can we do something on this plan to clarify it? That's not a enclosed structure? So, because, I mean, the plan's a little bit on the busy side.
Yeah, that's why we separated it into two, an existing.
So Matt, generally this means foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So the foundation goes all the way here. He's saying this is not gonna have a foundation. It's
Right,
gonna
that's why I'm asking him to change the plan to clarify that.
Yeah, we need to make the foundation come across here.
Yep.
If you're not gonna have a foundation under that deck.
Yep. So we may want to continue this so he can revise the plan to clarify the foundation part, so that we have the pre and post on where the foundation is going and the cover deck, so that it's more clear.
So what's that gonna be, sonotubes? That deck probably, something like that?
Yeah, just-
Sonotubes and 4x4s or?
Yeah, your typical deck construction.
If you want to do just another sheet without all these overlays on it, just take off the layers
Okay.
and add more detail showing where the foundation is versus where the deck is, and do a pre and post without all these layers on it.
Okay.
I can reference that with the plan if they decide to approve an order of conditions at the next meeting.
Okay.
What's your time frame on this? Is it this season?
I'd have to talk to the builder. I think he wanted to
We're too late in
get.
the year probably now to be doing this, right? So you're not gonna try to get it before the ground freezes solid, are you?
Yeah, he wanted to get a start on the retaining walls, because we're proposing to do that work before the lake fills back up while it's
Yeah,
dry.
draw down. Yeah, it's draw down right now.
So, Matt, if we can agree on the foundation coming across and the drawing being submitted, if we have any other issues, we could bring those up now, and if that's our last sticking point, then we could do a approval contingent on you approving that plan when he gets it to you. That
Yeah,
way he's
you
not
absolutely
waiting for the
can.
next
If you,
meeting.
if you wish to do so, that's fine.
Well, it's up to the board. I can't speak for the board, but will
Well, that's what I mean, if the board wishes to do so.
anybody have any questions
that's
on,
fine.
or objections to doing that, or
No, as long as the foundation is,
an approval contingent on the plans, and we'll leave it up to Matt to approve, and they'll be what he says they're gonna be,
If Matt thinks it's okay, then we'll go with what his decision is.
and if not, it'll go on the next meeting's minutes. Does that sound good to you?
Next meeting?
No, so
Understand
what
what
they're
I'm
doing
proposing?
is they're talking about approving an order
Yeah, with the,
contingent upon
Yep.
you getting me those plans and you and I reviewing them to make sure that their concern is addressed. If that's the case, I'll issue the order based on those plans and move forward.
okay.
If it's not the case, we're gonna have to reopen the hearing and bring you back to amend your plan,
Okay.
okay?
So if we approve it tonight, as soon as you get the plans to him and he okays them, you're good to go.
Correct.
You have to wait till he gets you the mailing in the mail with the, all right? So any other concerns from the board? Melissa?
no, that was my only concern.
Lionel?
No concerns.
David?
Nope.
Okay, this is a notice of intent. So I'll entertain a motion to approve with the revised plans being approved by Matt and the standard order of conditions.
Motion to approve with the standard order of conditions to be reviewed by the conservation agent.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Thank you.
I was just wondering, before we go to 449 Glen Allen, can we do 86 Ingleside first so that Ms. Tiffany and Chris can go home? It's a much briefer.
I'm fine with it. Anybody have a problem with that? Okay, sure.
I appreciate the consideration.
The reading's up there whenever you're ready.
Okay, pursuant to provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Winchton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Winchton Conservation Commission will hold public hearing on Thursday, December 15th, 2022, at 6:20 PM to amend the order of conditions filed by the Town of Winchton, owner of 86 Ingleside Drive, assesses map 5A3, parcel 348. The proposed work includes adding disc golf to the Winchton Community Park. The hearing will be held second floor auditorium at Town Hall, 109 Front Street. Alternative translations and accommodations for disabled persons is available by advance request.
So the commission would recall that we had gone through the disc golf proposal. We'd walked the site, I'd walked the site. We talked about them doing an invasive management plan. The commission didn't seem to have any issues with it at all. We had an abutter, forgetting his
Mr.
name.
Lucia.
Jack, yeah. He voiced a whole bunch of objections, So the commission said, you know what, okay, continue it, go see Matt, go over the stuff with Matt and see what you want to do from there. So I did meet with him, we sat down, I reviewed everything with him, face-to-face, answered his questions. He actually, from what I was told today by Nicole, he came into the office today and wanted to convey the message that he is fine with the proposal. Apparently I must have answered his questions enough, and he has no further objection to the proposal.
Good.
So my recommendation is that we can approve the amendment. That's my recommendation.
Anybody have any questions from the board? Melissa?
No, I wasn't on the second walkthrough, I was on the first walkthrough, and they were talking of doing some pruning of some shrubs and things like that that were in the way, clear cutting. Is that no longer in?
No, that is. You have a lot of invasive buckthorn that was actually in that path, so they're gonna keep the buckthorn in and around those areas cut back, because the stuff is just spreading everywhere. I noticed while I was out there too, some, what they call hollow-stemmed honeysuckle. The hollow-stemmed honeysuckle is invasive. It's right near the course. I'll point it out to them. It's just stuff they can keep cut back. That'll keep it from establishing like a monoculture in areas.
It'll just be pruning, it won't be any type of chemical vegetation, just
No.
pruning.
Yeah, there's no
Cutting it'll
chemical
be
at all.
fine.
Yep.
Lionel?
No, I have no problem.
David?
I'm okay with it. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, so we're looking to amend an order of conditions. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
You're all set?
Thank you guys very much. Just one quick clarification. We talked about no heavy equipment, obviously. In the wintertime, does a four-wheeler classify as heavy equipment? I just want to make sure I define that.
Ground is
Oh,
frozen.
and the ground is frozen now.
Okay, just
Not
want to
gonna
make sure I'm
damage
clear
the
on that. But yeah, nothing else will be any type of heavy equipment besides maybe that little bit of help.
Just to carry stuff in and out.
Yeah. Guys, thank you very much.
Thanks, have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
All right. Let's do 67 Hill Street next, please, Matt.
Yep, that was next up.
Okay. Okay, I didn't see
All right,
Paul
67
Grams.
Hill. I don't see it on this. I'm gonna have to look on the website
Right on
for it.
the
I don't see it
bottom.
on the disc.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't see the legal ad reading for it, but, I mean, it's a
It was a
continued.
continuation anyhow, so
Yeah.
we should be all
We
set.
don't need the readings to continuation.
Okay.
Okay. Say your name into the microphone, please.
Joshua Jocelyn with Graz Engineering. This is the continuation of Hill Street. It's essentially the same plan that you guys saw last meeting, other than I gave you guys a close-up of just the plan view and color to make it a little more clear what's going on here. I added the top of slope line, that's that thick red bold line, so that's what I went out there and surveyed is the actual top of slope that you're concerned with. And, yeah, other than that, you guys should be pretty familiar with this project. It's a three-bedroom dwelling that we're proposing out behind that steep slope. We're gonna have to cut down into the slope to put the driveway in. So we're proposing a pretty big cut in some spots, and the whole right side of the driveway near that slope is gonna be bermed up, directing water down the driveway. And we have double erosion control, basically where the tree line ends, that's where the double erosion control begins, and then there's erosion control right along that whole slope. Something we could add, I know Matt was saying that sometimes it's better to have wattles and silt fence, so that's something that could be built into the order, to do wattles along the silt fence as well.
Matt?
So using a vertiblock retaining wall?
Yep. Yep. Along that property line with a fence.
How tall is that wall gonna be?
Let's see, that's gonna be, looks like that's 32 comes in there, and that's 9. I believe it's 6
that-
feet, 6 feet tall.
So it's gonna be a 6-foot wall?
Yes,
So it's gonna need a structural.
as in a fence along the top, or?
You're gonna have a structure, you have to have a structural engineer stamp this off before you can build this, because it's over 4 feet in height.
So anything over 4 feet needs a structural engineer
Yep.
stamp, okay.
I have a question on that. Why on that side of the slopes on the other side? And you're gonna build a block wall on the upland side of the property, as I'm looking at this map. Am I looking at that right?
Right, and,
That
yeah,
makes-
it's
why would you
basically,
do
see
that?
what my cursor is going? If it comes back, yes, it's right here. So what you've got is a long wall that is gonna be about 6 feet in height.
So you're gonna dig down, and you're gonna put a retaining, I see, you're gonna dig down into you're gonna take out that much fill out of to put the driveway in.
Yeah, correct, we're
see.
cutting down.
I see why you're doing it,
So
okay.
the right side of the driveway is gonna have a berm, so water's
Alright,
not
I
gonna
get it.
flow over
Alright.
the
The only
slope.
thing I'm noticing here is that because it's a wall that's gonna hold back more than 4 feet, 4 feet in height of unbalanced fill, it's gonna be 6 feet, by state building code, it's going to need it's gonna need a structural stamp with a structural profile. So a structural engineer is gonna have to look at this wall, do a profile on how it's gonna be put in, along with any drainage on it. That's a requirement. That's the law. That's nothing, I didn't even notice this before until believe it or not, it was this colored plan that helped me notice it. So, thank you. And I'm sorry to just throw that on you. I just
that's
noticed
okay.
it, literally just noticed it now.
That's gonna be structured, that's gonna have to go several feet into the ground as well.
That's up to the structural to draw. And the structural is gonna have to, the structural detail should be added to this plan. The building inspector's gonna want
Let me
it.
just check this plan quickly and see.
There's granite under
Yeah,
there.
okay.
Under that sort of-
Oh, the wall's not gonna hold itself up, that's for sure. It's holding back 6 feet of dirt.
I mean, for me, it kind of changes some of the perspective. It's up to the commission to decide whether or not this is going to be sufficient as far as pre- and post-development drainage and erosion, because I know that was one of your concerns, but I think having the wall here and having that done first will go a long way to helping that situation, but it's going to have a structurals, you're going to have a structural engineer detail this thing.
I don't like it.
I think that would be a really, really big help.
Okay. So that's the driveway that's weaving around with the,
Right.
with the markers on it, you got 946, 948,
Yeah,
944.
it looks like a snake coming down a hill.
The driveway's the 2 black lines.
Yeah.
This is the other house up here. This is the slope side of it.
Going up
This is the driveway, this is, with these elevation markers on it.
Yeah, and this is where the wall is. They want to cut down the embankment.
But you've got 20-something foot of pitch on that,
What's they gonna cut all the trees down?
going down that driveway.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I mean, it looks like he's got the drainage along the driveway accounted for. He looks like he's got everything graded to shed off. and you've got two dry wells.
Correct, yep.
Is that for the
Looks
water
like your
coming down
drainage
that
is
driveway?
being directed towards there, but
That driveway. Two dry wells.
32 feet of pitch.
Most of that's gonna end up in Miller's River. You get a heavy rain, say goodbye to the dry wells.
466.
How wide is that driveway?
The dry wells?
Driveway?
Oh, 12 feet.
12 feet,
Yeah, I believe it's drawn as a 12-foot.
it's a wide driveway.
What direction is it sloping? Is it sloping towards the river? Kind of slope into the wall, so it must be sloping towards the river.
Is it sloping toward the river or toward the road?
We have it designed basically crowned right now, so it's gonna shed both ways and then flow down the sides. There's a berm on the riverside, so nothing's gonna flow over that slope towards the river. It's all gonna come down to the road.
That thick red line is the berm?
That thick red line is the current top of slope. The berm, you can see by the proposed contour lines, how they loop back on themselves.
Please do me a favor, don't ever say nothing will ever run over that berm,
Okay.
because I've seen stuff run over berms high. It rains heavy, I don't like it.
and I've seen stuff shedding overland, so.
Oh, I see, you're just saying these green lines that are doubling back on themselves are indicating the berm?
Yes.
Talking about contour lines?
Yep.
Let me ask you a question, do you really think that those two dry wells are gonna handle 2 inches of rain
No,
at a time?
no, they're not.
Excuse me, sir, if you have comments, the chairman will call on the public for comments. So please refrain from commenting until the engineer has his chance to speak. Thank you.
Because that's where I see the berm's gonna be overridden by water. You get 2 inches of rain, and it does rain like hell around here, it's gonna go over that berm and right down into the river. And it's gonna erode anything on the other side of that berm. That's what I tried to tell Paul last time he was here, was no matter what you put on that side for a berm, you're gonna almost have a 4-foot-high berm to catch that water, because the water's gonna come down the driveway, your drywall ain't gonna handle it, and it's gonna go right down Hill Street into the river. And it's gonna carry anything with it.
It's gonna, banked right into the wall that's going down, so there's nowhere for it to go on the other side.
No,
It would act
got
like
a
a
wall.
gutter.
Hmm?
It would act like a gutter at that point.
What about a Caltech chamber?
About what now?
Sir, do you have something to say? I'm sorry.
I already have runoff from this hill,
You already have runoff?
all the way down to the road.
Okay, so any project that we would approve, we would have to improve that runoff. We couldn't improve anything that would make it worse, even though you have runoff. Now that, if it exists, we're not gonna address it per se, but if you're doing a project, we can't just ignore the fact that it may make it worse. We have to address it at that point, right? We can't make it any worse, that's for sure.
Well, where this house is proposed to be built, okay, to begin with, right between his property and John Shepardson property, there's a stream that comes
What about
down.
like a Caltech chamber over here?
Yeah, I was just
So
thinking
that's
about that
running off
myself,
of this
to catch all
property
that.
Down here, and also running down the bank, where we took a walk, you saw the erosion marks.
Yeah, so it's
Yep.
just, yeah.
What is a 4-foot-high berm gonna do with 2 dry wells at the end?
What I've asked the engineer was to examine the possibility of using a Caltech chamber. So a Caltech chamber is basically, it's used with a lot of single-family houses which have heavy drainage issues. It's basically like, think of it like a makeshift septic system for stormwater. So they have to go and re-examine the soil, make sure it can handle the water load. And all the water coming off this hillside would be from the driveway end, where your concern is about the berm, would be funneled into this Caltech chamber, and it would percolate underground. I've seen them used in applications like this across the state. They work really well, and they require extremely little to no maintenance.
And that's not on this plan, that's just a
Not
suggestion?
on this plan, it's something that I just asked him just now to think about.
Yeah, so essentially with that, we could capture all of the water from the house site, so anything that would be coming off of the house roof, and then that big driveway area, almost all the way towards the property line, you could capture all of that water. So then the dry wells, you would just be concerned with about half of that driveway.
And the structural engineers details for that retaining wall, because it's gonna be over
Correct,
4 feet
yeah.
in height, so. If anything, under the building code, the building inspector's gonna require it too.
Yeah,
So you're gonna
yeah,
kill
it's-
2 birds with 1 stone.
David, do you have any concerns?
Yeah.
Bring it up.
So I've had trouble with this project from the go-get. I actually went back out there last week and rewalked it. I've been out there about 3 times and rewalked it. And I look at the project, I look at your plans. These plans are add a whole different set of issues for me. I don't like your retaining wall idea. I think as the board, we need to consider whether this is gonna impact the resource area or the riverfront area. And I don't see any way that you're not gonna impact it. The topography of the land is horrendous, the slope is horrendous. As a board, we can consider all of that in making our determinations, and based on that, I'm gonna make a motion for a positive determination.
A positive determination would simply mean you'd have to file a notice of intent.
Excuse me?
A positive determination is only made on an RDA, this is an NOI. So you'd either want to approve it or deny it.
I don't wanna prove it at all, right?
Then you're motioning for a denial, basically.
Okay, so my motion is to deny the project based on the fact that it's in the riverfront, and the major factor is the sloping of the topography of the land. That's my biggest concern. I just don't see it being contained successfully. I see, maybe you can do it to satisfy the plans, but down the road, when that driveway is salted and sanded and everything else, and all the vegetation gets killed, then we've got another problem on our hands. And I just see the long-term effects are just, I don't see it as a doable project. And that's my opinion as a board member. So I have a motion for,
I'll second that
Denial.
motion. I don't see it happening. There's no way.
Okay, before we vote to approve the motion, do we have any issues that he could take back to the owner to address that would satisfy the board? Or are we at a stalemate, pretty much?
It sounds to me like you guys are at a stalemate. I mean, I've come up with some suggestions.
There were a few issues that were brought up. Can we specify those? And,
The issues that I brought up
Make sure that he can
were
take 'em
the
back.
retaining wall needs a structural detail.
okay, do you have that written down?
I do.
Okay, what else?
I asked him if he could look at doing a Caltech chamber,
Okay.
instead of a berm, or in addition to the berm, so
The
that it would
runoff
handle it.
mitigation? Runoff mitigation?
That's correct.
Okay, so that needs to be addressed. Anything else we can send him back with?
I would probably, want to take a look at the flowage coming off the driveway itself, the lower part of the driveway where it's going out into the road.
So a HydroCAD model,
Yeah.
essentially, yeah.
Because, one of the things that Commissioner Whitaker did speak to was that he didn't think it, the runoff could be contained to make the erosion work. And I can understand his point on the lower half of the driveway especially.
Yep.
and that's
That's a lot of retaining wall. I mean,
a lot of
mega
retaining wall, and
monster-
it's a lot of water. That's a long driveway.
That's a mega monster retaining wall in there that you're putting in. To a contractor, a 6-foot retaining wall may not seem like much, but with a short guy like me, when I'm standing on the driveway looking up at the thing, it's like, that's just and it's a long and high wall too, so.
And it goes way above that wall as it goes up, so that's gonna be a lot of dirt being held back. It's gonna have to be very safe. I mean,
That's why it needs a structural.
yeah.
Yeah, especially where you got a wet lot to start with, so to speak. You know, that's all running down, everything runs down that way, it's just.
Who's
come off
gonna be
that hill.
responsible if it washes out the soil and enters into the river?
It would be whoever the homeowner is.
'Cause it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it would be whoever owns that house.
So would they have to take out a bond to pay for that? Because
If they cause that kind of damage that you're describing, yes.
Melissa, do you have anything?
And everything you guys have said, and then I'm looking at the wildlife too, that's gonna be stopped at that retaining wall and have to go around.
Okay,
heading
before we
to the
go any
river.
further, a motion's been made and seconded. Could I have a vote, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, so we've got the issues, the main issues we're concerned with. We'll take those back to the applicant.
So is this a continuance?
We're gonna have to continue it till,
No,
The next
my
meeting?
motion wasn't to continue.
motion was for denial.
My motion was to deny.
well, if we're sending them back with issues to address, are we just trying to shoot down the whole program? Is that?
That was my
motion
motion.
is?
I'm done with it. I mean, we've been kicking it around. I don't see it as, I don't see this project not impacting the resource area some way or shape or form.
Okay, so
Either
that-
short-term or long-term.
So that was the intent of the motion.
Right.
Okay, so the project is dead as it is, so
Yeah.
he would have to refile
Yeah,
with new plans and a new idea, so we'll just consider this one. He can work on these plans and come back with new plans, but he's gonna have to refile. So we're not gonna- Okay? Thank you.
449 Glen Allen is next.
29, there's nobody here.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Can I keep this one? Yeah. Thank you. Are you on this one as well?
That plan?
Yeah, for Glen Allen?
Yeah, Glen Allen, but the plans have been revised since,
And you gave him revised
I
plans?
just handed out revised plans.
So, yeah, what you have up on the big screen is what he planned, what the plans were at the last meeting that you guys basically rejected and said to go back to the drawing board. To remind the commission, they wanted to do this circular portion of the driveway here
Out on the,
and this
That they did.
paver patio area, which basically the commission's response was eliminate this and reduce it, and reduce the pervious pavers.
oh, cause the septic's not made for two home. Septic's only designed for residential home.
Right.
Cause that's a septic for here.
All right.
That's a leach field.
That's it, yeah.
So, you guys can go ahead, I'm just gonna take a
Here's the
quick
tanks,
nature break.
and then it comes out here, yeah.
You wanna tell us what we've done here on the revision?
Yep,
There's-
yep,
what's
whenever you guys
this?
are ready, so essentially,
Built 1,500
okay.
septic
Joshua Jocelyn with Graz Engineering representing Jamison Van Dyke.
Got another septic tank coming from.
Last meeting, you guys said that you didn't like the pervious patio that we had proposed, so we eliminated that. We still do have a little bit of patio on the beach side as a transition from the beach to grass to patio, but rather than have that pervious patio, we've added the infiltration trenches on 4 corners of the house, and those will take the roof drain runoff and infiltrate it into the ground. And that's designed for the water quality volume of the roof. We also got rid of the circle driveway and just made that a straight driveway with a turnaround. And you can see all the areas that we're proposing to loam and seed, essentially everywhere that's not gravel or patio or beach is being proposed to be loam and seeded now.
Okay, there's a, on this new drawing, there's an as-built 1,500-gallon septic tank that's not on the original plan.
Yeah, it's up by the,
What's on the screen, you can see
by the
it's not there.
garage. By the garage.
Oh, yeah, I shot that last time I was out there. They added a septic tank to the garage and they did like an office space above the
There's not
garage.
supposed to be anybody living in that garage.
It was proposed as an office space. The Board of Health approved it.
The Board of Health approved it?
Yeah, I had to go through the Board of Health to get approval for the septic tank.
I'm on the Board of Health, I don't remember approving it.
Oh.
You're able to add that space to that that leach field without any addition to the leach field?
It's not an increase in flow capacity, it's just so that garage has a sewer, but there's no living space
No
in
living
that
quarters
garage.
there at all?
Correct, it's,
That's what I hear now. But there wasn't supposed to be a septic tank added to that garage in the original,
Look at the original.
but there is now. There's
Is
a
it out of the
15
buffer zone?
it is.
If it's out of the buffer zone, it has nothing to do with us then.
100 feet from the setback.
I knew that was gonna happen. Casino.
Yeah, that's out of the buffer zone.
Yeah, he's outside of 100, it's not our issue. Not even our-
And that was approved by the Board of Health, too?
Yeah,
And
we sent
it's
plans
not
to the
our
Board of
issue.
Health.
Okay, so there any questions on the revisions, Matt?
I actually like that plan much better than what was originally proposed. It addresses the commission's concerns. Everything was removed that you guys wanted removed. He's kept the area clean. In the spring, he and I are going over the trees that he planted to see which ones survived and which ones he'd have to replant. And the fine has been paid in full.
So this is an NOI?
It's an amendment to his existing order of conditions.
Oh, that's what we're voting on, is an amendment?
Correct. So I'd issue a new order template, it would just say amended on it.
Any concerns or comments from the board, Melissa?
I wasn't here when you guys originally approved this, so I'm gonna step aside on this one.
All right, Lionel?
No,
And David, you said you liked it.
I like it.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the amended order of conditions?
Motion to approve.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. One abstaining.
Okay, that's it. That's actually it for the agenda. Just to recap really quick, you approved the certificate of compliance for Central Mass Tree.
Bedrooms, there's no addition to
Read it better if I had my glasses on here.
by amount of
We gave a negative determination for the water main project, standard order of conditions for Lot B Hitchcock Road, standard order of conditions for Christine Tennyson on 106 Second Street, a negative determination for the gentleman with the trailer on Mill Glen Pond with the condition that he replant the tree, make the foundation area a lawn, and have it an even grade, that he keep the trailer 50 feet outside, and that he account to me, basically, when he files his building permit, what equipment he's going to use, and 2 rows of erosion protection, because he's close to the water. 296 Beachview with the steps, you approved an order of conditions waiving your 50-foot requirement for 80 square feet for safety reasons. 226 Lakeview was given an order of conditions with a clarification on the foundation, the plan that has to be approved by me prior to him doing any work. You just approved Glen Allen, Ingleside the amendment was approved. Matuski's on 16 Second Street was continued because he's got to go to the ZBA, and 67 Hill was denied. That's it.
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
I think we get out of here till 8:30.